Здравствуйте, товарищи! Welcome to episode 9 of the Russian Bias podcast. Welcome to the last episode of the Russian Bias podcast for the year of 2014. With Christmas coming upon us and New Year's and holidays that don't quite match up in Eastern Europe, because I'm pretty sure that they don't have like literally Christmas, the celebration in that part of the world is a little bit different than the way we're used to it. But we are nonetheless. I am, as always, joined by my compadre who's been with me since the very start of this show. Matt, how you doing? Is it cold?
I'm doing okay. Is it cold?
It's a pretty warm December, I've noticed. Really, really strange.
Well, I mean,
for a December. It's like in the average in the 40s.
But Arkansas weather's so weird anyway, so it doesn't make any sense.
Well, here over in West Virginia, it's like we get pretty much everything. So we get like really, really sweltering hot and really, really daggone cold. So kind of interesting when this time of year you get rain. It's like, what? Look outside, it's like, oh yeah, okay, so it's gonna sleet or snow or something. No, it's just gonna rain. Not cold enough. Really, really bizarre. I am of the opinion that we have all been transported to the 1990s without our knowledge because of some of these reasons. Shia LaBeouf was in a good movie recently. It's warmer than usual, which is prompting discussion about climate change, and gas prices are below $3. That is weird. What year is it?
They're below $3 there? Holy crap, man.
Oh, yeah. Like, on average, I can fill up my tank for, like, $30.
Oh,
and
well, wait, that's just regular, isn't it? Never mind.
Well, it's regular, but it's about $2.60 a gallon, $2.70.
What the heck?
Which is a nice change of pace from $3.20, as it was at the beginning of the year.
Ours is $3.20.
Oh.
And that's good for us.
Oh, yeah, well. Sucker.
No, we haven't seen anything below 3. No, really, we haven't seen anything below 3 in like 10 years.
Really? Yeah, that's why I'm going. What the heck's going on, dude? It's weird. But anyway, we're not here to talk about gas prices. We're here to talk
talking about gas prices on Russian Bias.
Yeah, welcome,
Russian oil.
welcome to episode 9. Here we are going to talk about the recent sanctions on the Russian Federation set up by the European Union and NATO. Now, Matthew, what effect do you believe these sanctions will have on the Russian oil market?
I believe the sanctions will allow Vladimir Putin to have even more power and take over the world.
Because that's what he's doing,
exactly
right?
What I think. Yes, exactly.
Runner-up.
I will never talk in that voice again, ever.
Runner-up for Time Person of the Year for being a huge douchebag, according to Time. See, here's the thing, you get a little salt and pepper, little thyme. I don't know where I'm going with that. It's a game.
Oh, come on.
This is a Game Grumps reference. Game Grumps reference. It's okay. It just popped in my mind. Stream of consciousness.
It's not okay. Just because you say it's okay doesn't mean it's okay.
What's so bad about it?
Well, you're stealing other people's popularity.
I'm not stealing it.
Right?
I'm not stealing it. I'm drawing influence.
I'm pretty sure they have
quoting their joke.
Yeah, but it's their joke. Come on, man. You don't use other people's jokes all the time.
I had to find some way to transition away from political discussions. Come on. Cut me some slack.
Okay, well then, segues are weird. Let's go.
Boom, segue. Wargaming in 2015, what we think will happen, what's to follow, kind of recap on what they did in 2014 and how impressed or not so impressed we are with some of the things they did. And then we're going to conclude by talking about the show itself in relation to the channel and how you guys have kept this thing going. Even though I have no real, I don't really have an income off of this. Because I'm not popular. I'm not famous.
never be popular or famous.
Someday.
Accept it. No.
I'm the man who made the Gaijin parodies. Do you know who I am?
And the peanut gallery says... Okay, that's a resounding... We have no idea who you are.
That's great. No, but anyway, that we'll talk a little bit more about the channel and how we've kind of gotten here later on. But let's just, segue. Boom. It just segued and you didn't even know it. How does that work? Because I just did it. Wargaming. At the beginning of 2014, I don't think a lot of people would have been projecting their project goals and been thinking, oh yeah, quality of life updates, aesthetics, looks, visuals, graphics. I don't think that many people would have been talking about that, or even predicting that, but it happened, and it's happened to pretty good effect, I would say. Now, obviously not, if you're talking about, like, HD tank models, it hasn't happened across the board. There are definitely some older tanks and definitely some newer, fancy-looking tanks out there. But there's nothing to say that they're not going to get to, heck, each tank in the game whenever they do get around to it.
Maybe eventually.
It would definitely take a while. It would also take a while for me to stop not silencing my phone for the freaking timer on this show.
The last take too.
Gosh, I put it on silent. Now someone's gonna complain about that.
Hey, well, you see, that's the thing. You know, you're doing another take, and you know, and it happened again. So
gosh, we've done like 3 takes of this.
First time.
Like we got into it for 8 minutes, and then what the heck happened? I don't even know what happened.
Right. That second time was funny.
For those unaware, yeah, I mashed the keyboard and then I stopped the recording. Like, literally stopped the recording. And I just kind of sat there for a moment.
Before this recording started, I was just busted up laughing.
Oh,
I was trying to stifle it while we were going into this one.
Pain in the butt. The last few episodes have just been like... Maybe this is what happens when we go on a weekly schedule. I spill coffee on my lap, and then I do stuff like that. The lengths we go to.
You know, I mean, if it was just us talking all the time, it'd be boring, right?
That is true. And I did have an opportunity... I did have an opportunity to do some funny editing for the coffee spill. So, opportunistic humor. I get people come up to me, like my nickname, like my nickname in certain social circles is jokes, and I get people to like come to me and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, Greg, can you tell a joke?" And it's like, doesn't work that way. Like I don't just, it's gotta happen naturally, you know.
Yeah, the jokes they don't just happen.
Yeah, you know? They just you gotta be patient. Gotta
they
wait.
They come from within. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a ticking time bomb for good jokes. And they finally, like, explode, and everybody laughs.
And it depends on the context, too. For instance, that 1.41 parody trailer, I mean, I couldn't have made that now and gotten that same amount of hits, which still, to this day, boggles my mind. And, in fact, much of the support for this show, comes from that. Very strange, indeed. But that's something to talk about later. It's worth mentioning, though, because... it's arguable that Wargaming wouldn't have kind of kicked it in gear with the visuals of this game and some of the more quality-of-life-oriented elements of the game if it hadn't been for Gaijin's competition. I'm sure that the PR people at Wargaming will go, oh, no, we had this plan from the get-go, but it seems a little bit odd that they went out of their way to do some of these visual updates in the context of a lot of updates in War Thunder and a lot of attention that game was getting. And I think it's an example of how healthy competition can be, given the right circumstances. Now, a part of me still feels that Gaijins kind of like bash themselves against a wall, trying to compete with Wargaming. And I don't think a lot of people really realize that despite a lot of the technical issues that Wargaming has exhibited, being a big company, it's inevitable. they still have a very, very stable foundation in terms of financials and in terms of support from fans of their game. And I think this year was it just successful in pretty much every regards for them. Wouldn't you? I mean, in terms of content, we had... What did we get? We had new tank destroyer lines. Obviously, the British are coming out in 9.5 pretty soon. Common test got updated. There was the German class cannon. Class cannon, yes. The glass cannon line. And then there was the Japanese tech tree itself, which is pretty much just a medium tank line, but still a tech tree. Still there. Pretty good year in terms of content and in terms of financials, obviously, for Wargaming. I mean, this isn't an economics show, so we're not really going to go into a whole lot of details about that. But it's something to think about in terms of how stable the free-to-play model is, depending on how well you put it together. You can really get a hell of a following that way. And you can really just kind of reap in the benefits of it over other really, really rushed and really over-the-top AAA titles that have come out this year. I mean, gosh, Ubisoft has just had a crap-tastic year. Hasn't it? Like Unity?
I mean, going from...
And...
Yeah.
Watch Dogs, I mean, Watch Dogs was okay. I didn't find anything outlandishly wrong with it. It could have been a lot more, and it was a lot more than I hoped it was when I finally played it.
I feel like Unity is probably the biggest problem that a lot of people are having, because there were so many elements in there that could have been absolutely, fantastic, and they just weren't, A lot of people talked about how they focused on art design and historical accuracies, especially talking about Paris. A lot of people walked around with photos in Paris of the game and matching it up to its.
I mean, it's a beautiful game. The art team did a stellar job with it.
Exactly, and honestly, I would chalk that up to Ubisoft being a French company and wanting to get France right. Because they're very proud of it. It's almost the same as an American company getting, say, Washington D.C. right. If it was in the game, i.e., something like Fallout, Bethesda. But anyway, digressing a little bit. But I'd say Unity was probably the worst that we saw from it, because Far Cry 4 was okay. I
mean, it was Far Cry 3 again, but Far Cry 3 was a great game, so it improved in some aspects, and there wasn't anything really wrong with that.
Right, but once again, it wasn't like a stellar performance from Ubisoft.
It wasn't like Game of the Year material.
Yeah, exactly.
Dragon Age Inquisition definitely deserved its Game of the Year award, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's a great game, but at the same time, I'm going to get Dragon Age Inquisition. But I feel like I can still have a lot of fun on things like World of Tanks, even with a lot of these, these really big, AAA game titles out there. Things like Call of Duty. Advanced Warfare came out this year. Everyone's like, this is going to be the new great Call of Duty. And it's fun. It really is.
Oh, yeah, we had a blast.
We had a lot of fun on it.
Yeah, we had a blast playing it this weekend.
The free weekend. It's a great game.
I mean, I went on my way to get a copy of it because it was on sale. I mean, I don't regret the purchase of it, but there are definitely a lot of elements of it that you look at it and you go, man, they really wanted to push this out the door, didn't they? Yeah. I mean, even 3 years in development, you could tell they were hurrying. And I think...
And at the same time, that World of Tanks is able to keep up with things like this, that I can still find World of Tanks enjoyable, after playing, the big budget titles, it's supposed to captivate your audience, in epic multiplayer combat, and World of Tanks does the same thing, and it's free to play. I think that's quite impressive.
And it stays alive through content updates and microtransactions.
And it grows and grows and grows and grows, and that's a really cool thing that they've done. They've really done it well this year. I
I think
when I got
the reason
to World of Tanks,
I think the reason they've managed to do a really well job this year is they've looked at it and they've gone, okay, let's keep it simple, stupid, plural. Because what did they do? It was mainly quality of life updates and a couple of content updates here and there. But we only saw one additional nation added to the game, Japan. And even then, that was just one line of medium tanks and a couple others. You know, there are a lot of... I think 2014, in terms of gaming, is going to go down as the year that I hope a lot of AAA developers, and I hope a lot of even other aspiring game developers out there, other smaller studios like Gaijin, will look at and go, you can get too ambitious, you can go too extreme with an idea, and you can spread your creative vision out too thin, and you can try to do too much in a short amount of time, and it doesn't matter how awesome the idea is on paper, if you can't execute it properly, that won't matter. You will get an unfinished product. You will get a sloppy product. And there have been a ton of games that have come out this year like that. Destiny, Watch Dogs didn't really live up to what a lot of people I imagine at Ubisoft probably wanted the game to be. I feel sorry for everyone involved in the development of Unity. There was a bunch of other ones came out this year that just kind of got swept under the rug. And then you got, in this whole sphere of development here between Gaijin and War Thunder, you had Gaijin come out of the gates in 2014 and go, oh yeah, we're going to do all this stuff. We're going to do all this stuff. It's going to be great. We're going to kill World of Tanks. Well, it's 1 year later, folks, and I don't know about you, but I think Wargaming's got a more stable foundation, despite a lot of the technical issues that they've encountered with some of their patches, and the colossal wreck that was World of Warplanes. It shows in the numbers, and it shows in the financials. Now, you can argue that Wargaming has a monopoly on mid-century vehicular combat games, but come on, like what kind of monopoly is that? There's nothing keeping there's nothing keeping any other developer from getting into the foray. Obsidian has come into... they're kind of off in the wings, waiting in the wings to reveal more information about their game, but Armored Warfare is developed at a pretty good rate so far. And obviously the dev team at Wargaming and the dev team at Gaijin and the dev team at Obsidian are all completely different. But I think this year should show a lot of artists, a lot of game devs especially, that when you're trying to tackle a big project, you need to have a simple goal. For one, you need to look at it and go, what exactly is this going to be? What are we going to do here? And try to condense it to a formula that has worked, or if you're willing to expand upon that formula, go ahead, take a chance. But don't be too upset. Well, that's probably not the proper advice. Don't be surprised, I guess, if you try to tackle something really, really new and it doesn't really catch on right away. Titanfall. Really, really good idea. Really solid gameplay formula. Everything there is just, it's smooth and it's solid. It's really, really nice to put together. It's a nice package. But a lot of people have criticized it because it lacks substance. And they're right. It is lacking in substance. Is the game necessarily bad? No. Just because a game doesn't have a lot of stuff for you to do in the sandbox, because you go out of your way and pay a full retail price for it, doesn't mean it's a bad game. I'm pretty sure if Titanfall was a free-to-play game, it'd be a completely different story, but it's not. Respawn was a company that looked at a simple idea. They said, okay, we need to make a multiplayer-oriented sandbox here. And we're going to do this to the best extent that we can do in terms of visual presentation, audio presentation, and the mechanics themselves. We need to make sure this all comes together well. We need to make sure the matchmaking works. And although it hasn't done that well in terms of numbers, it has a solid foundation now, and they can expand upon that in the future. There are a lot of games that have come out this year, and there are a lot of games that have come out to compete this year that I think have tried to do so much, and they just kind of kerplunk. You know? And it's disappointing. That a lot of these games could have been really, really good, but I'm satisfied playing World of Tanks. You're satisfied playing World of Tanks. It's just games. It's just video games, you know? It's a hobby. It's a pastime. Something we do in our spare time. Nothing to get all uptight about, I suppose. Even though I made a whole bunch of
competition.
Even though I made a whole bunch of videos, you know, complaining about Gaijin being not knowing what they're doing.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, it's there, isn't it? I think Wargaming has had a stellar year. What about you?
I think they have. With the only blight I could possibly see on it, that people might look back on and be like, you know, that maybe wasn't the best idea. Will probably be historical battles. You know, that's really about the only.
But they experimented with it, and they weren't afraid to kill it off when it didn't work.
Right.
That's what I liked about it.
Exactly.
They didn't try to
force it. A lot of people
it.
Be like, "Oh, it wasn't a great idea." Yeah. Yeah. Just I don't know. It seemed like a good idea when it first came out, and I think we actually talked about it. But it just really didn't pan out. And you're right. They realized that it just wasn't going to work. They need to focus more on their competitive community, and maybe a little bit less on the big history buffs that want to play the exact battles that they've read about and watched movies on, wrote theses on. So they're focusing more on the gameplay aspects rather than the historical, which is fine. I'm perfectly okay with that because it's a game. I'm playing a game. I'm not playing a documentary. It is historically accurate to some extent, and that's what draws some of the people in, and then it'll keep you there with the really solid gameplay, occasional teamwork with random people. And just a lot of fun with your friends. So, and I think they've realized that, and they're just constantly improving that experience.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you on those points. I mean, they have a formula and they've worked with it, and it's worked well. Nothing to really complain about, I would say. Just focus. Get a point. And do it to the best of your ability in your creative venture. Nothing wrong with being ambitious. A lot of good movies this year that came out that had a really ambitious premise to them. Interstellar, I saw in theaters.
Oh boy.
Incredible. Just, man. Those kind of movies, those kind of projects, they stand out because those ambitious titles were executed well. But very few ever get executed to the fullest extent. So it's just something to keep in mind, I suppose. So, Wargaming in 2015. Now, if I recall, they would probably put out a video kind of going, they would have Serb kind of show up and go, "Oh, I am Serb, and I run Wargaming, and I am here to talk about what the company is doing over English subtitles, because you cannot understand me." And he kind of blurbs about what the goal of the dev team is for World of Tanks and a couple of their other projects in the future. Mainly, I would say, I personally, if World of Warplanes just stops existing, then I won't shed a tear, because I'm not interested in it, and I think it was a flop to kind of combat War Thunder, knee-jerk reaction kind of thing. Don't think it was really necessary for the company to divert their resources towards it, but then again, I'm not rich and in charge of a wargaming, in charge of a online vehicular combat company, maker game thing, company, incorporated. I seriously cannot imagine how freaking rich Serb is, though. Like, the guy, I guess I would imagine he's got a stable financial status. But, in particular this year, by the end of 2015, I think World of Warships will have come into the fray, and it will garner a lot of attention. And I think if they want to make something really unique and really interesting, they would be smart to put a good deal of development focus into this game. For the viewers, I have the gameplay trailer for World of Warships that they have released recently. If you haven't already seen it, there'll be a little bit of pause in the action here real quick for you to take a look at that. So we'll just shut our traps real quick. About a minute or so. Take a look. Okay, so that was pretty cool. Now, obviously, it wasn't really a gameplay trailer as much as it was a series of cinematics made with gameplay from a cinematic standpoint with the camera in the replay editor, I suppose. But it does show that they're getting serious about this, and they did recently open up the alpha testing for it, like the open invitation sort of thing. And I didn't get it. Matt, did you get it?
No.
Okay,
so I
mean, we can't really talk about it from personal experience because we don't know anything about it.
Well, honestly, I don't think we'd be able to talk about it anyway.
We couldn't really say anything because of the NDA anyway. So yeah, it's kind of awkward. Sorry.
Why are we whispering?
Because I want to cover up the fact that I don't have much substance in this particular topic, and I kind of want to segue real quick.
Wait, no. I have some stuff we can talk
about. Okay, say stuff. Just remember, Matt, get your German battleships right. You remember last time we talked about ships.
Okay. Alright. I see how it is. Alright. I feel like the key to World of Warships at this point is going to be, and this is going to sound really weird because this is generally not what I look for in a game, but it's going to be graphics. And the reason I say this
I think so.
is because, yes, the reason I say this is because World of Tanks has come so far graphically with HD tanks, with the maps, with everything they've thrown into it, and they've improved on it. That when we saw World of Warplanes,
we might get multi-core support someday, maybe, probably, eventually, and
probably never. No. But regardless of that, World of Warplanes, when it came out, we all went, "What is this?" You know, some of the maps just look downright terrible. I mean. Like
oh my god, it's one of those games that you load up and then it has like a 25 frame rate dip or something and you just go, how dare you? What? You don't even look that good! What? Yeah. You're making demands on my supercomputer? What? It was like... people talk about World of Tanks not being well optimized, and I get it, it isn't, but... man, that was like, what? And in light of that, I would agree with your statement on graphics and warships.
Yeah. Because, as long as there is a graphical difference between the three games, they'll never really be able to tie them together. And I think they understand that, but really, if I really want to enjoy World of Warships, I really want to look at some really cool... I really want to I want to look at some cool ship models. All right.
I want the barrels of the guns on the ships to be circular, not polygons. Nah.
Yes, I would definitely prefer that.
With rifling.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Anyway, I really want World
No, but seriously, I would like
start
that.
off on the right foot. You know, like if it starts off right, especially with the graphics, then I really think it'll go a long way. If the gameplay's not quite there, you know, that's something you can improve on, and people, you know, will probably forgive later. Bad graphics takes a while to forget. All right.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Greg, you and I still haven't forgot World of Warplanes. All right. And
we're still
and
complaining
good graphics.
We're still talking about how horrible
And
it
good
is.
graphics, you'll always remember, which is why we constantly reference War Thunder as, you know, having the graphics down pat, but, you know, maybe not the gameplay, and they've yet to fix it. But, you know, we're going back on something we said we'd never go back on. So, but you know, for the sake of talking about World of Warships, if they get the graphics right and the gameplay's not quite there, I'll forgive them more than the other way around. And I really think that's going to be the key to it.
You know the thing that I find interesting about the way they've pitched this game? Is the catchphrase for it, like the slogan. Rock, paper, scissors. When was the last time you played a tactically oriented, kind of like competitive game that had that sort of really, really simplistic focus as a selling point? Now, a lot of people would look at that and go... That's true, but a lot of people would look at that and they would go, "Oh man, what is rock paper scissors? What? This is a baby's game. I'm gonna go play Dota 2. That game is so much more sophisticated and intense because it has all these complex elements." That is usually the reception, the negative kind of reception that you would get from that kind of thing, and it's the reason why you probably, from a marketing standpoint, wouldn't want to do that. But they've sold it. They've gone with it. Why? Again, keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
He's going Japanese on me.
No, but seriously.
Yamato.
If they
Yamato, no.
if they focus on that, if they keep that approach, and you can have like the aircraft carriers as the X factor, as we talked about in the episode when we talked about the competitive viability of the game, then they have a solid foundation and they can build upon that, and then they can get money because people will like it, and if people like the game, they're going to be willing to put money into the game. So everyone's happy. People get to play a fun game. The people who made the game get to have, well, you know, money. And that's ultimately the goal of, you know, going into business with this sort of thing. I'm sure there are plenty. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who look at art and they go, "I have absolutely no desire in making any income of anything that I do creatively," and that's fine. It still confuses me, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, you know.
Not in a sense, like, okay, like, I understand, like, but those same types of people, and I probably just lost a subscriber or two for saying that, inadvertently.
Or 20.
25,000. But, like, there's so many people out there that just, like, they think that they can just, like, put creative stuff out there, and that's literally all they do with their, like, creative focus and any of their efforts in life, and just be like, I'm just gonna float around, I'm just gonna be insightful and shit. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you gonna get mad at me for wanting to get money off of my stuff? What's wrong with you? There's nothing morally wrong with that. It's fine. You gotta chill out. I mean, you're chill out. You're too chilled out, but you gotta chill out about me not being as chilled out as you. Does that make sense? I just went off on a, like, really, really out there kind of tangent.
Went
off in a la-la land. Because we were talking about Wargaming getting money, and how Serb's, like, rich, and he owns a Lamborghini, right?
Okay, well, I don't know.
I'm sure Russia has benefited from the free market system very much. And I say that completely seriously, by the way. before anyone makes a joke. I
wasn't thinking about making a joke.
Matt,
but,
help.
You know, if you're talking about somebody else making a joke.
Okay.
What?
No, segue, help. No, I'm kidding.
All right, everybody, hop on the Segway, and we're gonna transition to the next topic.
No, but where do you think that, in terms of tanks, where should wargaming go? Because it's in my cliff notes, Matt. I said we should talk about it, and I'm not.
Okay.
It's a segue.
I wasn't ready. Okay. All right. Gosh. Looking at the trees. All right. The obvious thing would probably be to expand the Japanese tree. But
okay, I literally thought you were talking. I thought you were talking like trees in a metaphorical sense. I was like, okay, this will be an interesting topic. Where are we gonna go from here?
No, that would have been interesting. Well, you see, the tree has many branches.
You can't put trees in the ocean.
Branches,
so World of Warships is kind of out on that regard.
Okay. Anyway,
looking at the tech trees.
Looking at the trees. All right.
Terrence Malick.
So, all right. Restate the question. All right, let me, because you just got me all like.
No, where should wargaming go? Like, what's going on? We got 2015. What do you think they'll be talking about besides ships?
All right. First off, they're probably going to get their butts in gear about World of Warplanes because, obviously because we're complaining about it and they really care about what we think, like especially us two because we have such influence over all of them, right? And
yeah, there's a guy who watches jingles from Wargaming. I'm pretty sure they watch us. Anything's possible.
Yeah, maybe.
Hi, sir!
But anyway, I feel like World of Warplanes is definitely going to be the next, big thing to go, all right, this is, it's looking kind of grim, so we need to fix it, all right? And I feel like that's going to be the main thing. But if we're just talking World of Tanks, then I would say that there's going to be some sort of expansion, possibly of the Japanese tree. Maybe French. I doubt it.
Well, the plan that and if you look on again Silent Stalker on the For the Record blog, he does talk about wargaming kind of looking at the introduction of a new like an AMX-30 French line, but there have been blurbs here and there about a Japanese like a super heavy tank line for like late tier Japan. And I can't think of any designs off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure they're around there somewhere. It would provide something interesting for the meta and it would give an incentive for people to go down the Japanese line a little bit more.
Yeah. And honestly, because really the Japanese tree is the only one that is really, just incomplete.
Kind of out there.
And
the various European nations tree. Which is confirmed.
Right.
They are working on that.
Right.
I don't know the specifics of it. They haven't really talked about the specifics of it. But it is there. It's an idea.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think probably the most comparable tree would probably be the Chinese tree, considering it's only, 3 eventual endings. Or, sorry, 2. But I think that's probably the most comparable to Japan, considering they're kind of on the low end of, the amount of tanks to select from. And mainly because...
Well, yeah, because Japan didn't have a very well-developed tank corps.
Right, and China's designs tend to be Russian, just, relabeled type.
And then they have Cold War-era designs that are adapted from Soviet designs.
Yes, exactly. But I still feel that they're probably looking to expand Japan. Probably not China. It seems China as the nation in World of Tanks is really stabilized, and really honestly, I can't really tell where they're going to go after that. It's just it's kind of tough to say. Maybe they'll go back to I don't know who's in need of one. Maybe America. No, well, America just got
they just got the light
a
tanks
few patches ago.
and the
Germany got
yeah.
Germany got updated this year. Britain's getting updated like crazy.
France has just been sitting there just
that'd be, but I guess France is they're the ones that have been not neglected necessarily, but I guess the ones that have been kind of left there the longest.
And one of our viewers did mention in a previous episode that they definitely have the material for like a super heavy tank line.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at least like a branch off from the heavy line.
Yeah,
or,
I mean,
Italian,
at the very least.
Italian tanks. Which could be a thing.
That's true.
And a lot of people I know, they look at it in a historical context and they go, well, Italian tanks got blown up a lot and they sucked.
Yeah.
But it's a video game, so...
Yeah, well, the same with Italian ships. They had some of the coolest battle cruisers I've ever seen.
The Italian Navy was actually pretty well developed for one of the... in terms of... like, the level of technology they had. I mean, obviously, they borrowed a lot of their designs from the Germans, but they had some pretty modern designs. So, that's an interesting idea. Maybe they'll throw that into World of Warships at some point.
I hope so.
I don't know. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I like battleships. Battleships are my thing, because big guns equal, big explosions, and big explosions are cool. So,
but I mean, honestly, I can't think of Wargaming doing anything really too outlandishly different other than just like filling out branches that haven't been filled out over the course of 2014, just kind of adding in content where it logically makes sense. And maybe they'll add in a nation sometime, maybe either the European conglomerate nation or maybe even an Italian sectary at some point in 2015. And
perhaps.
It'll just kind of go from there. Just do more of the same. Just quality of life updates. But again, Wargaming has its dev team in World of Tanks, and it has its dev team in World of Warships, and they're going to do their own individual things. And maybe World of Warplanes will get some fixing up, because I like the idea of it. I probably wouldn't invest that much time in it compared to other games, but I still like the idea of it. So, there's that. But yeah, I would agree with you pretty much in a lot of those regards. I mean, as far as competition goes, there is Armored Warfare coming out someday.
Yeah.
And that is definitely gonna, do a very... It's obvious that Armored Warfare isn't coming out of the gates to directly combat wargaming like Gaijin was maybe not trying to do, but it was definitely what their fans wanted them to do. And honestly, I don't see any point in trying to put Wargaming Limited out of business. Competing with them, sure. We got some really nice visual updates this year. That probably wouldn't have happened without Gaijin's influence. So, as much as we complain about and lament about War Thunder and its current state, there's no denying that there has been some healthy competition here, I think. And if it continues, well, hey, we got a really unique, interesting game getting thrown into the mix in the form of World of Warships. And despite the fact that I haven't gotten to play it yet, I am still very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be quite some fun. And it won't be that difficult to get content for the various tech trees either. At least I don't think it will be.
Oh, no.
I mean,
no. All the
everyone had ships. Everyone had ships.
Existed? My good.
Yeah. Everyone had ships.
Oh, man. I really can't wait to see the high tiers. Like, that's something I really look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do? Are they just going to stick with, what we know with, Iowa-class battleships and Yamato-class for the Japanese and Americans? But or are they going to go, even further? Where, how far are we going to go into, crazy big ships?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It just looks cool. I think Wargaming's going to have a pretty good. I think they had a really good year, 2014. I think they're going to have a pretty good year in 2015. They just keep doing what they're doing.
I think they will, because what they're doing right now is making them money and earning them fans and players.
Oh no, Matt! My cliff notes mention the Christmas thing that World of Tanks is doing with the 8-bit thing.
Okay. Well,
oh, okay. Here, lip service. Lip. Okay. Moving on. Here's some pictures of the tanks and the 8-bit thing. It's like remember the Carls from last year? Yeah, it's like that. Okay. We good? Do I really have to have a 5-minute segment on the 8-bit Christmas special?
Should you really tell yourself that? Oh. You're a really bad judge of yourself. That's why you keep me around, though, right?
Yes, of course. That's why I brought you along the
show.
So
I can judge you being a bad judge of yourself.
Oh, gosh. So, viewers, we are going to have a very lengthy conclusion to the last episode of the year, because I'm so happy that we got all this support, and if it hadn't been for you guys, then I don't know where I would be. I would like to thank my parents. I would like to thank Matt. I would like to thank the hypothetical fan base who doesn't think this joke is getting really goddamn irritating. You guys are all great. No, but
you quit your groveling. What in the world?
No, but it's really weird because when was the first episode of this show? When did we upload it? I don't even remember.
Without looking on YouTube.
YouTube.
Hang on one second.
YouTube.
Ambiguous noise.
YouTube.com. Going to filler. Create.
I love how we're both looking this up.
Creator. It was on SoundCloud. Duh. We had the first episode on SoundCloud. I remember, yeah, and then SoundCloud didn't work.
But you realized it was dumb.
Yeah, I was like, here, pay a bunch of money to keep all of us at time on it. It's like, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
It was in the spring of last year. April.
Man, that's weird.
May-ish. May-ish? Yeah, May-ish. Second episode has now 1,600 views, and the most recent one has 97.
Okay, then.
I'm gonna play a song on a violin, the tiny violin, real quick. No, but it's interesting to talk about because the subscriber base originally started out with the War Thunder parodies that I made, and that wasn't the intention of support, right? That was just me taking the opportunity to make a joke out of it and try to make a point about a game that I wanted to succeed, and I just kind of went with it. But now this group of people that we've been talking to over the airways, over the internet, for the course of about a better part of a year, really, has come out of that, and I find that to be really, really cool. Because despite all of this kind of indecisions that I've had about the direction of the channel and what I want to do with it, I made the final War Thunder spiel about a couple of weeks after my 18th birthday, when I could finally monetize my content and get real serious about it. Despite all of these directions that I've all this experimenting that I've done, it seems that there's a lot of people out there who really who genuinely like to hear us talk about this kind of stuff. And the only reason we really got into it in the first place was because we found it to be interesting to have a sort of like a talk show about some of the games that we were interested in, and at the time that was World of Tanks and War Thunder. and it's become this sort of... It's obviously not popular to the extent that a lot of other groups out there, YouTubers and people out there are right now in terms of the competitive community, definitely. But we've had constructive criticism on a lot of these episodes. We've had interesting discussions with people from time to time, and it's something that I try not to take for granted. Because, to me, when I go on here and I click on this and I go, Greg Havener, 452 subscribers. I look at that and, you try to visualize that, right? You try to visualize 452 people who all know you, and you can't really name all of them on an individual basis. But they all see, like, your content. They all see your stuff, and they know you for this, particularly the show that I put out. And I kind of had a reality check when I put up the Wolf Among Us review, and I didn't mind making it. But I put up the Wolf Among Us review, and that has, 66 views? I put up episode 7 of the podcast. It has 127 right now. So, it would be silly of me to neglect the positive impact that has come about as a result of this, because we've had a lot of really interesting discussions, and maybe they don't really amount to a whole lot in the long run, but it's still something people enjoy listening to. And as it goes on, and as I get more serious about this, as I get into college, I'm going to be going into college for the first year, in 2015. I'm going to be pretty busy studying the topics that I love, which include my career path, which is going to involve digital media and communications. And as I get more versed into this, I really, really do want to go out of my way to make the production, to constantly be improving the production quality of the show, constantly be improving the way I present myself with my content, and to, constantly be trying to put out good stuff, because it's what I'm passionate about. And I know that I've managed to make that 10 minutes there all about me, and Matt's just kind of sitting here just like, But, Matt, 'tis the season. I do also genuinely appreciate you going along with this little project of mine, because I didn't think this experiment...
You give me a premium tank? Free gift? I'd like a premium tank.
Yeah, I'll get you a Tetrarch. I'll pay $50 on the store to get you a tier 3.
Oh, sweet, man. Wait, can you give me a Panzer II-J and a BTSV
and a BTSV and a KV5 and a T1 2E, whatever that weird thing is with like the 2 barrels on it that fires like 50 caliber and the
no, I don't want that one. No, you can get that one for Devin. Tell him if he doesn't want it, he can give it to me.
The MT whatever, MT25 something, I forget. One of those weird tanks.
Oh, that's a real
It's an American something or other. But
anyway,
no, we started this show out. I was in a match and I went. A lot of people keep telling me I should start up a talk show because I got like that radio voice, and I keep telling them, oh yeah, I could probably get around to that at some point. And then we were in a World of Tanks match, and then I had an idea for the title of the show. And it's called let's call it Russian Bias, because we're like,
we all laughed.
We're like making fun of the like the whole like stigma that these games have attached to them, right? Because we're talking about the games themselves. And a lot of people got into it because just like, oh yes, this is exactly what I wanted to listen to. An hour-long dissertation of all of the various elements of Russian bias in these games. That is exactly what wait, oh, he's not doing that? The fuck? Screw this guy! He's got some false promises here. This is some false advertising. What? Gosh. No, how many times did we have to specify that the show wasn't, like, about talking about various elements of Russian bias in these games?
At least 4. I'm pretty sure.
Like, what the hell?
It was actually, like, 4
I had no
episodes.
idea. It's like... I got criticism from people, like, on the War Thunder forums occasionally, because they would, like, go on to here, and they would go, oh, this guy's shtick, quote, is talking about Russian bias. Of course, all he does is talk about all the horrible things about this game. All the time.
And yet, that's
That's not
never what we just did.
No.
Did we make certain complaints about?
Okay, we occasionally joked about it, yeah. But, and then I showed the I wigged out when I saw the SMK in patch 1.45 because it was like what? Okay. This is fine. Yeah, it saw combat. Oh, okay, it saw combat. Fine. It saw combat, everybody.
He's still really upset about that.
They get the Porsche Tiger. The Germans get the Porsche Tiger. That's fine. Okay, I get why some would look at the Porsche Tiger and go, okay, well, I mean, they get the Porsche Tiger. It's a double standard on my part. I understand. I'm sorry. I have my own personal bias, too. I have my own personal bias that is inclined to believe that the people at Gaijin really like their Russian stuff. That's my personal bias.
And if you look at the link below, I'm starting a new show called Greg Bias, and it's going to be the greatest thing ever, so you should check that out.
Wait, what? Greg Bias?
Greg Bias.
Oh, so you're going to point out all the elements of my bias and all of my content.
Of your bias, talking about Russian bias, when you're not talking about Russian bias, because you don't mean it's Russian bias.
That'd be a good end of the year special, if I felt like doing
Absolutely.
it. Cough. No, but
Greg, what you have to do is watch through all of our old episodes, patch together a bunch of stuff. It'll probably take you about 8 hours, 9, 10, 20,
We'll do like a CinemaSins kind of thing.
Oh, good lord.
Roll credits.
Take us too long. Oh, dude, we'd have to do an counter for all the times I say in some of these episodes.
I need to do a counter for all the times that I say like, and I have a really bad habit with filler words. I'm getting better at it. But that's the thing, right?
I'm surprised no one's mentioned that
Damn
about
it!
me, because that's all I do.
I said it! No, but it's one of those things. I was really ambivalent about going into it because I was like, oh man, I have no experience with this. People aren't gonna like it. They're gonna look at it and they're just gonna go, oh man, but I have Turtle Beaches. I don't have like a real mic. But then I eventually got this lovely blue snowball. I eventually got a really nice PC so that I can do my own recordings for the background footage, and it just comes together over time. And I know that it'll take a while to get to a place where I might be financially stable because of it, but that's okay, because I like doing it, and it's something that I would not mind continuing to do for a good amount of time. Would you mind, Matt? We do it weekly all through the course of 2015. I'm
sure.
gonna go cry now. We'll see. As I've said time and time again, a lot of the elements of the show, I'm learning a lot of things as I go along too. But I don't know, maybe I will do a year in review kind of video when I get to an anniversary of the channel's start. I am getting pretty close to it. What was it? The Yak overview. Oh man, am I past it now? December 9th. It's been over a year since the Yak 3 video I put up. What? Oh my gosh, I feel old.
Oh, that's weird.
I feel old. People I know are getting married? What's going on? People I know are getting married. I'm still making dumb videos on the internet. I still have acne at age 18. And I'm single. This does not look good. I'm extrapolating. Man, I'm scared.
We just throw your problems at all these people.
Guys, give me attention, please. No, I'm kidding. About that part, I am still single as hell, though.
He's not kidding, but he's kidding.
Yeah.
He's kidding that he's kidding that he's not kidding.
You know what? Screw it.
See, I have an unofficial degree in reverse psychology, and I can confuse the crap out of you.
No, but my plans for 2015 for you guys is to just keep doing what I'm doing. And I'll focus on making insightful gaming content here and there, or whatever topics that come to my fancy, and I will put as much effort in terms of the visual, in terms of the shininess of it, in terms of how well it's presented, to the best of my ability, and it will improve over time. And I'm looking forward to seeing where this channel will be, my support, my base of support will be, and my financial status and my career and my studies. I'm gonna have a lot to reflect on next year. I will say this with the most amount of with the most amount of sincerity. When I go here and I look and I see this video that I did of the Yak 3, at that time, I did not think that I would be 9 episodes into a show like this. I didn't think that I would have made so many videos about War Thunder and what made, why I'm mad about it. It's something to think about. I like to look at things in perspective. I like to look at things over the course of time and look at things in the big picture. Think outside the box. And I have my fan base who has supported this show to thank, and of course you, Matt, to thank as well. Alright, let's wrap this up, huh? So, thank you all so much, and as I said in last week's episode, the World of Tanks class overview will come out someday. I'm just...
Did you say Sunday? Today's Sunday.
It'll come out...
Sunday.
It's not going to come out this week, probably, because of just logistical issues. They just came up, they come up, it happens, I can't... That's why I don't try to... That's why this is the only show I try to keep on a weekly basis, because there's no way in hell I'd be able to do anything else that way. But, yeah. I think that will do a welcome conclusion for the show. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the last episode for the year, and Matt and I are looking forward to complaining more about Russian bias in vehicular combat games in the future. Spasibo, Tavarishi, and Seros... Fuck it.